Well, welcome to Monday. Uh, whatever the fuck today is. April 4th? April 4th. Yep. Welcome to Monday, April 4th. It is laundry day, as you can see. And I thought I would just do a vlog where I chat and hang laundry because that's how dryers aren't really things here. So yeah, I filmed a thing on Friday. I was having a kind of really depressed day and decided I didn't really want to use that footage, so I decided to do something today instead, and today it is rainy and windy. We are getting a week-long kind of storm thing happening. And my phone keeps going off every 5 minutes. It's like, oh, there's a wind gust that might be 50 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, I know. And 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, there's a wind gust. I can literally hear the shutters phone. I've figured out there's a storm brewing. So, yeah. Last week was really... It started off really great, and then was pretty difficult, and then was kind of okay by the end of it. So a couple, big news things happened in my life. Well, it's really one big news thing, and then Twitter fallout. So, way back in 2013, when I was 22, I co-founded an organization called the Coalition for Responsible Home Education. And if you've followed me for any significant amount of time, you've heard me talk about it nonstop. It's all over everything. And if you're new and you haven't heard me talk about it, it's an organization founded by homeschool alumni like myself, advocating for the interests of homeschooled children. And by that I mean we want homeschooling to result in actual education. We want homeschooling to be a safe and empowering educational option instead of a tool that is used to conceal abuse or keep children isolated or limit the possibilities of the child's future. So for instance, my parents believed that my only purpose in life was to be a stay-at-home mother and raise children, and that I didn't need to know any of those silly things like algebra or science. Spent a lot of my childhood telling me that having any kind of ambition was bad and would make me unwantable, and generally, completely thwarted my education in lieu of having me raise my siblings, who I love dearly. And basically from the time I was 10 on, I taught myself everything. So math sucked, and when I, went to school at age 26, I realized I was so far behind all of my peers in math because I didn't understand, basic concepts, and it was really bad. And I'm not even, there are people who have it way worse than I do. There are kids who are dead because of the lack of regulation and oversight in homeschooling in the U.S. So me and a bunch of other homeschool alumni were like, this is kind of fucked up and it shouldn't be this way. So we started an organization in 2013 to go about trying to raise awareness and change the narrative from homeschooling being like either something that only happens if you're super smart, or like an Olympic athlete, or something that only exists if your parents are like really sort of off the deep end religious people, which is a common experience, but it's also not a universal experience. So we just want homeschooling to be something that is done in the best interest of the child, right? So we want to provide resources to parents who are looking for guidance on how to like educate their kids and educate them well. So we do that. We provide resources and guidance for alumni like me who have had to figure everything out on their own from scratch with little to no education. And we also talk to media and legislators and anyone who has questions about what homeschooling even is and why people do it and why shouldn't we just ban it because it serves purpose and it's not bad. So, lest anyone jump into the comments here saying I hate homeschooling, want to ban it, I really don't. Like, homeschooling can be a really amazing tool and a really amazing educational method if it's done for the right reasons and parents have the right resources. So, anyway, all that to say that I co-founded this organization in 2013. And as of last week, I am the interim executive director. Our previous interim executive director, Jeremy Young, did an amazing job. He volunteered to do the job in order to fundraise for a permanent executive director, and he said he would be able to hold the position until March of this year. And so at March of this year, his term was up and they needed someone else to kind of step in and fill the role while we continue to look for the person who will bring us forward into a sustainable future where, maybe not everyone is a volunteer. So that's really cool. I'm really happy to be back and working with people who I really love to work with and to just be able to kind of carry the mission forward until we find somebody to be the permanent executive director. And that will involve someone who hopefully knows how to write grants and is good at doing donor stuff, but also someone who's like really self-motivated and cares and understands what's at stake with the current homeschool situation in the US. So that was announced last week. Super happy. Almost everyone was super happy about it, which was really lovely to see. A lot of people who I had worked with before were like, "Oh, Kieran is so great, fun to work with." So I'm really happy to be back, and that everyone is really happy that I'm back. And then Trans Day of Visibility happened, which is always a day that I try to log off because it's ironically kind of one of the worst days to be visibly trans on the internet, because that's when all of the transphobic assholes are out. And so on that day, a bunch of people found out that the Coalition for Responsible Home Education has a trans interim executive director and started doing a whole bunch of hate mongering and telling me I'm a groomer and that I should be shot because I'm trans and I'm a threat to children, and all of that is just such complete bullshit and, not surprising, and I kind of knew it was coming, and, I always do my best to kind of prepare myself for these things to come out because it's the internet and, people are shitty on the internet sometimes, but as it turns out, it really kind of did fuck me up a little bit. With everything going on in the US and in UK, with everyone just like being like, you know, not just like your normal run-of-the-mill transphobia, but like trans people are evil and awful and grooming our children for abuse, and like, which is ridiculous because the grooming for abuse is something that I and my friends have lived through, and is not something that we do, and it's just, you know, horrifying. So that was a lot, and that made me feel really bad. Not like about myself, really, but just like, it's just a lot to see how much hate people have for, you know, just someone who dares to fucking exist. Like, my gender isn't hurting anybody, but instead I got they them scare quoted because how dare I use pronouns that suit me. So that was rough, and that was most of Friday's thing that I talked about. And, you know, it's hard to be trans on the internet, which is, you know, why I hadn't done videos for so long. Because you do get a lot of hate, and you do get a lot of hate just for, like, having the audacity to exist and to say that, like, maybe all of the rules that were placed upon me were shitty rules that shouldn't be rules, and people get really offended when you do that because you challenge their entire world, really. And instead of, you know, taking that challenge as, well, maybe I should open up my view and think about, you know, how I feel about the world and my place in it too, people just get angry because they've bought into it for so long and feel threatened when people are like, actually, maybe that's hurting people and it's not cool. So, you know, that's being trans on the internet, and that was last week, and it was hard. But, you know, this week is a new week, and I've got work to do, and it's so nice to have work to do that, you know, matters, and it feels really grounding to be doing something with my time besides making Minecraft videos, which will also be coming out soon. And yeah, so that was, you know, that was last week. And then I had some fun adventures in medications being different, because Germany is really into homeopathy, right? So, you know, remedies and stuff, pharmacists will just hand you instead of like an actual medicine. So my dicyclamine is an antispasmodic, however you say it, and that doesn't exist here. So instead I'm on this like probiotic thing that acts as a band-aid to your gut. So it's supposed to, you know, help you digest food better and stuff, which is awesome if it works. But the only problem is that, well, it takes about 6 weeks to kick in. So over the weekend, I just like kind of didn't feel really great and was like, why is my stomach upset? Why do I feel so crappy? And then I was like, oh, because I'm off of the meds that I've been on for several years at this point that helped with my ability to digest food. And now I'm off of those, and taking a probiotic, which, you know, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to give it a shot. I have, you know, tried homeopathy before with little success. But, so I'm trying that, and my body is having a questionable time with it, but it seems to be okay. And the other thing that is going to be probably the topic of multiple videos this week is now that we have an actual paycheck and like finances somewhat sorted, we can actually start apartment hunting in earnest, which is great and terrifying because we have to be out of this place at the end of the month. And apartment hunting in Berlin is about as bad as it is in San Francisco. So yesterday we went to go see an apartment, and by the time we got there it had already been taken. So now we're just like, I'm not even paying attention to neighborhood at this point. I'm just like, anywhere that's within 30 minutes of my partner's work that is 3 rooms and within our budget, let's just apply to and see what sticks and take whatever we can get. Because I'm kind of noticing right now that like I've been here almost 2 months, and like I really just want to feel settled, and I really just want to like be able to put down some roots and be able to have a place that I can be like, okay, this is my neighborhood, this is where I'm living, this is where my pharmacy will be, this is where my groceries will be, and like actually let myself have a sense of place. Because it's right now I just feel like I'm so uptight and just like scared of like kind of making myself feel at home in this neighborhood because I don't know where we're gonna be because we have to leave in like 3 weeks. So yeah, give us all of the good vibes for finding a place somewhere in Berlin that's reasonable distance between my partner's job, and that place has an elevator or is like a first or ground floor place. And yeah, that's been this week. It was a weird week. Today it is stormy, and it'll be stormy for all of this week, so I am feeling it. But I'm just plugging away. There'll be a new Minecraft video out at some point. I finally had to move to DaVinci, so that the editing is taking a little bit longer, but it'll happen. We'll get there. Thank you for watching and following along these weird, rambly adventures, and for watching me do laundry. As a treat, I did get some fun S-bahn footage, so enjoy that.